You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for joining me here today on the weekend edition of the show, where we are going to be going through your questions. Our community's questions from all over the world, everyone that we are fortunate enough to have in our global health community. Excited because each and every week I see questions from people who are trying to heal themselves. They're trying to get information for a loved one. Maybe it's a child, maybe it's a parent, someone in their community that they are reaching out for as well in order to help that person in need. And that is what we are all about. We're about learning what works to heal this body of ours and then sharing that information with anyone else out there that we believe it could serve. And sometimes it may fall on deaf ears, but remember, there is no harm with at least offering that first olive branch, right? That's something to say, like, listen, like, maybe you want to look into this, or, you know, maybe it's not the right fit for you, but have you ever thought about, and you might say a functional medicine detox or an at-home lab test, or just something that starts to put that first seed that there is an alternative in their mind. And now it's not your choice or it's not your prerogative or your job to push it upon them, but now you put it out there. And it's their job now to say, okay, I listened to what you said, thought about it for a couple of days or weeks or maybe months, and then they might reach out again and say, you know what, I'd like to know more about what you were talking about the other day. And this is a great thing. I see this happen all the time with families in my practice, especially. Like, I have a lot of women and moms, and they'll come into the practice and they'll say, I'd love to get my husband onto this type of program, but he's not as open to it. I hear that at least once a day, so that's why I'm sharing that. Or it could be their partner, man or woman, is not into this whole health-based thing. Or, I'd love to get my kids to do it, but they're a picky eater. I'm telling you right now, be the role model, offer it, and just allow it to happen. You will see change by being the change. I didn't make that up, but it is nonetheless the truth out there. So let's get started with today's show, bringing in all of our community's questions, as we said, that we take on every Saturday and Sunday. Typically, we're going through anywhere between 5 and 10 questions on each episode. So hopefully you've been tuning in each and every weekend. We've done thousands and thousands of questions. It has to be approaching 5,000 questions answered. I will find that number by the end of the year and be able to relay that just because it is fun. Okay, so let's get into the first question. The first question is from James, and he says this in his own Dr. Cabral voice. He wrote, "Hey, everyone, but actually, hi, Doc, because this question today is for you. I want everyone to hear your thoughts on food sensitivities. My understanding is that they are usually caused by undigested food particles breaching the tight junctions in the gut lining, then the body having an immune response to that specific food because it's now in the bloodstream. Then, when we eat the food again, the body still has that same immune response and starts attacking itself, causing food intolerance symptoms. Firstly, can you confirm if I am correct that if you do think it's possible to cure food intolerances, then by sealing up the tight junctions and taking care of the fungus bacterial overgrowth, or will your body still have immune responses to these specific foods? If you could dive deepish into how food sensitivities or intolerances are created, how symptoms are arise, and the mechanism behind curing them, I would be super interested to learn. If you have time, thanks again, James." James, happy to answer this. Thank you for doing your own Dr. Cabral voice. This came in on August 19th, so showing that we're just about 6 weeks behind. So happy to answer this. Food sensitivities are caused in a multitude of different ways. As a young child, it can be because you got immune cells from your mother that was nursing you, and you got those through the breast milk, and that then caused sensitivities to certain foods in your system because you picked up those same immune cells. Or as a child, your body reacted because you're naturally more permeable in the gut until about 2 years old, when ideally, if you haven't taken any antibiotics and you're not exposed to a lot of toxins, that gut wall seals up nice and tight. So then, just like James was saying, you can start to get some leaky gut caused by a numerous amount of things in life. One of them could be fluoride in the water. Another could be chlorine in the water. It could be heavy metals. It could be stress. It could be antibiotics. It could be birth control. It could be alcohol. It could be candida overgrowth. It could be bacterial overgrowth. It could be a lack of stomach acid or too much. So a multitude of things can cause leaky gut, aka intestinal permeability. And when that happens, larger protein amino acid strands can start to move through the gut wall. And when they do, your body can view those as foreign, which they are to the body. So the body can then start to, just like James said, mark them to have other white blood cells, because different white blood cells do different things. Some mark and some remove. Okay, so they mark it for removal. Well, when they mark it and then the other white blood cells come in, let's say an IgG, immunoglobulin G white blood cell, and there is an attack on it, well, this will create inflammation. That inflammation is not necessarily the body attacking itself. So James, that's the only part where there was a little confusion. Now, the body could attack itself in autoimmune if the protein molecule, such as a gluten, looked somewhat like that of a thyroid molecule, or the protein and bacteria were somehow attached to the thyroid, where the immune cells would then attack the thyroid. So that's called molecular mimicry, or the actual protein attaching to the receptor site of what it believes is another molecule, okay? So both of these are theory in science. Science is the theory of science. I just made that up. So both of those are absolutely true. But here's the thing. We run food sensitivity tests all the time. IgG food sensitivity. You can find that lab right at Equilibrium Nutrition. Anyone can run that right at home. So that's a great thing to do. What can I tell you, though, besides that? Well, once you go through something like our CBO protocol, you've done maybe your organic acids test, stool test, you found the different bacteria, candida, H. pylori, or parasites. You remove those through a parasite protocol or CBO protocol. Then you seal up the gut with the CBO finisher, the heal and seal. Then you've closed the tight junctions of the gut. Then you have to just wait a little bit, a couple months, let those immune cells not pass on as much of the memory of them attacking that food, and those food sensitivities, for the most part, do die down. We've seen that many, many times. I can't say that we're going to cure, treat, or diagnose any diseases, but what I can say is that much of the time, this does happen. So that's your best bet. Sometimes you'll just be left with food sensitivities that you may or may not have for life. I have a couple random ones. One is kidney beans and one is almonds. And I've had those since I got tested around 18, 19 years old. Never been able to really shake them. When I eat them, I'm not going to go into anaphylaxis or anything like that, but they can cause a little bit of brain fog or irritability that next day. That's an IgG food sensitivity. I feel nothing when I eat it that first day. So James, thanks for writing in, and hopefully that does help. But we see a turnaround all the time with people. Okay, Richie's up next. Dr. Cabral, I listen to your podcast all the time. I've recently become interested in extended water fasting and the benefits of autophagy, 5, 10, 30-day fasts. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's in March. I'm taking 125 milligrams of T4, synthetic. I'm 50 pounds overweight, suffering from brain fog and mood swings. Do you think a prolonged water fast of 30 days could reset my metabolism and cleanse my gut? Or do you think it could be dangerous and damage my already stressed adrenal system? I'd appreciate it if you could consider this topic for your podcast. Cheers, Richie. Richie, I'm happy to help. It will be free during the debut. It may not be free in the future. It takes a lot of time and a lot of team members to put this together. But we're creating a functional medicine detox course to teach you why doing a 21-day detox with those 2 liquid fasting days each week is pretty much the pinnacle of what you can do right now. I did a podcast already on water fasting versus a functional medicine fast or detox, and I usually lean towards the functional medicine detox until you get your body well. And the reason is this, is that If I lived 100 years ago with Herbert Shelton and Dr. Kellogg and a lot of other people, I'd probably be doing water fasting as well, no doubt about it. Get people in nature, go into some nice springs, do some saunas. We would meditate. We would do fasting. We would stretch. We'd follow the de-stress protocol, right? We would do that. But the thing is, we're exposed to so much toxins. Like you could be exposed to aluminum and mercury, and that could be affecting your thyroid. What about arsenic? You need a little bit of support, my opinion. So what I would do is I would do a 21-day functional medicine detox, get your body well, and then if you decided to, you could look into longer fasts in the future. But I would be very careful because I would want to support your system rather than tax it any further. My opinion, again, I can't give medical advice, but Richie, hopefully this helps. All right, Alpha is up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, really enjoy your show and try to put as many people as possible onto it. I'm a firefighter, and sometimes, despite our best efforts, we get exposed to smoke, fumes, dust, etc. All the years, the recommendation after a major call where that happens to drink some milk. The seniors claim it helps trap and remove contaminants. Is there any possible truth to this, or is it an old wives' tale? Not rooted in science. Also, what recommendations you have for firefighters, victims, or those in similar circumstances who have been exposed to smoke, contaminant, etc. Would an active lifestyle help combat risks? As always, keep up the good work. Thank you, Alpha, and I appreciate you writing in. I would love you to pick up a copy of The Rain Barrel Effect and keep it around the fire station. The Rain Barrel Effect actually has a page on firefighters in there. I work with many firefighters in Boston. They do amazing work. However, their chance of cancer is actually quite high. And the reason is they run into burning buildings where plastics and flame retardants and all of those things are burning. I know it's a flame retardant and it's burning, but still, those are all carcinogens that go into your body. Milk is not going to help with that. Yes, milk contains a good amount of fat. That fat can bind up certain things in your intestines. That's not going to help to the degree. After a major call, you need to get your department to put a sauna in the fire station. All of the guys and girls can pile in there and do a sauna. You also want to be doing a functional medicine detox and supporting yourself on a daily basis with something like the daily nutritional supports and the daily fruit and vegetable blend. I can't recommend that enough. Please read The Rain Barrel Effect. Keep a copy at the fire department. All proceeds go to profits. Remember, firefighters are exposed to all those chemicals in their worst form as a vapor when they're running into a fire. All of our firefighters, a big debt of gratitude. Same with our police officers, first responders, everyone that typically runs into emergencies when everyone else is running out. And I mean that. And I know that every once in a while, 1 out of 100,000, it acts improperly in their position, but that's the truth for every single person in every single industry in the world. So hopefully you listen to this and you do your heavy metal detoxes, your functional medicine detoxes, and then you work on a daily basis. And again, I can't recommend enough a sauna too. Okay, Madison's up next. They have quite a long question. Let's dive into it. Okay, so Madison's question is, hi, Dr. Cabral, big fan of your podcast and all that you stand for. I'm 22 years old and have a question regarding the correlation between cortisol and intermittent fasting. I'm very active, work out 5 to 6 times a week, and prefer to fast from 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. However, I find that, for example, if I wake up at 5:30 a.m. to work out, when I return home to get ready around 7:30 a.m., my stomach is grumbling, expressing hunger, but I don't physically feel hungry. With stress in my job commute to the city, could these stomach intestinal noises be a sign of high cortisol? Thanks. All right, Madison, great question. I apologize. I thought you had a very long question. It actually ran into the next question, which is from Ruth. We'll get to Ruth's question in just one moment. So I did a podcast on should you skip breakfast. I've done many podcasts on the value and also dangers of longer or intermittent fasting, especially if you're working out first thing in the morning. I really urge you to go back and listen to those shows. Those are 25-minute podcasts that go in depth, much more than I could do on a weekend house call, of explaining the pros and cons and why some people don't do great with fasting for, let's just say, through 9 a.m. and also doing a workout in the morning. Now, this might not be bad for you. I just don't know. The way that I do know is when someone runs their thyroid adrenal hormone lab. And why that is because I can actually look at your morning and then your total output for the day of cortisol. I can look at how it's affecting your estrogen and progesterone. I can look at how it's affecting your DHEA, which is the balancer of cortisol. And then I can look at your thyroid, not just your TSH, which is great to look at, but actually your T4 and T3, the free forms of those. So I can't recommend that enough. I could give you, a real exact answer if I had that data in front of me. So that you can run at equilibriumnutrition.com. You're welcome to do that if you choose to, but let me get towards the grumbling or hunger in your stomach. That is a little bit different. So physically, if your cortisol levels are high, you're not going to feel hungry, and that's because high cortisol is fight or flight. Same with high adrenaline. There's just two different parts of the adrenals, so that you have the adrenal medulla, and then you have the adrenal cortex. And one's going to be able to promote more of the adrenaline and norepinephrine, and those are called your mineralocorticoids. And then you have the glucocorticoids that are expressed through the adrenal cortex. That's the last part. So I teach all of this in the Integrative Health Practitioner course. I would love it if you love this type of information, if you want to go deeper, you can definitely check that out. But here's the thing, I'm always happy to answer your questions as well. So when we are in fight or flight, our hunger is typically less. And the reason it is because our digestion, our body already knows it can't be in fight or flight and digest food at the same time. It's just not going to do a good job of it. So it shuts off the hunger-based response. Now, people say, well, when I'm anxious, I want to eat. That is true. Anxiety doesn't necessarily mean you're in high cortisol, but it does mean that you are under stress. Your body's under stress, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're producing high cortisol, but it does mean stress. And anxiety is there and promotes hunger in some people because when you eat, especially carbohydrates or comfort-based foods, you're going to produce more, most likely, serotonin or dopamine. And when that happens, then your mind, at least for a moment, says, oh, good, we got these neurotransmitters, we're feeling happy. And of course, as we know, it's fleeting, right? So work on not the foods, but work on the body to rebalance that. Okay, the grumbling in the stomach does mean that you're hungry. And if you are hungry, it most likely means that your blood sugar is dropping a little bit, which means that your body needs to repair after that workout. So you work out at 5:30 in the morning. Nothing wrong with that as long as you're getting enough sleep. I don't know what time you're going to bed. What I'd recommend is probably, if your goal is not weight loss, I'd recommend eating an hour after that workout. I don't think that there's a need to wait longer. I don't see a need just for the fact that you want to fast longer doesn't always mean better. That's the thing. If you fast from 7 o'clock at night, you could fast until 7 the next morning. You get your 12 hours in and you are good to go. So hopefully that was helpful, Madison, but do listen to those previous podcasts on should you skip breakfast and on intermittent fasting, because you'll be able to go in depth and make a greater decision based on your body. Okay, Ruth is up next. And Ruth is writing and saying, I started doing Amanda's program and your detox. I drank 30 ounces of water upon waking and then the 20-ounce shake. I was feeling nauseous and had to stop. So my point, what should I do from here? I didn't think feeling nauseous was normal, which is why I discontinued the shake and pills. Is there something that indicates something else is going on? Should I try again in a week? I have 3 boys, 9, 6, and 4, that I homeschool, and my 4-year-old has severe medical issues that I'm the sole caregiver for. My youngest son has a lot of medical issues since he's born, to say the least, which is why I started my healthy journey, because I need to be around to take care of him. But I'm in shape, and I've been working out since last October, and I've been eating healthy, whole foods according to the Faster Way plan since June. No gluten or dairy. I just wanted to give all the details so you could advise best on how I should proceed. I will be honest that I'm scared to try again, but maybe it was just the perfect storm of a day with menstruation, but I have a lot on my shoulders in life to be responsible for, and being unavailable to my kids, especially my youngest, is not an option. Thanks for your time, Ruth. Ruth, I'm happy that you wrote in. Thank you for writing in, and happy to help as well. So a couple things right off the bat. Certainly when a lot of women are going through their menstrual-based cycle, or even a couple days before, feeling a little bit nauseous or queasy is not out of the ordinary. However, I don't necessarily think, maybe it was, like you said, part of the perfect storm. However, what I think was this. You drank 50 ounces of water to start your day within an hour. So if you think about that, 30 ounces upon waking, I'm a huge advocate of water upon waking, right? I recommend adding some lime or some lemon to it, a little pinch of sea salt, get those electrolytes so it's better absorbed by the body. It's more hydrating. So I love that. I love that part. But I don't recommend 30 ounces. And here's why. So 30 ounces, if we do the math on that, that's about 4 glasses of water upon waking. Now, a lot of people, myself included, we recommend 1.5, maybe 2 glasses. The reason we don't recommend 4 is because you will then flush out your system of a lot of those minerals too. So we have to be careful there, because also keep in mind, we want to be able to eat food in a little bit. And if we have that much water in our stomach and running through our system, well, that's going to make a lot of people feel nauseous. Now, there's another part to this. You drank the 4 glasses of water, and then you drank another 2.5. Yes, 2.5 with your shake. So now we're up to like 6.5 glasses of water with those pills in your stomach. And think about that. Think about like those 4 detox pills swimming in over a liter of water, right? Well over 1.5 liters of water. So when we look at it that way, that's a very good possibility for why you felt nauseous. So again, I'm a huge advocate of hydrating the body, but on the detox, just 1 glass of water simply upon waking. You can do a little bit of sea salt or lime with it, or none at all, and then your 20-ounce shake. Now, your 20-ounce shake, you'll do the capsules with it, but here's the thing. Remember, we do this all the time, and we hear these things all the time. So what I'm saying is, it's good that you wrote in, Ruth. It really is, because there's always an answer. So here's the thing. The very first time you do your shake, don't do the pills with it. See if it's the shake and the water, or see if it's the pills, right? Now, the pills are all natural. They contain all your detox factors, right? They contain your reduced glutathione, your taurine, all those great things. And then you have your AYU, which stands for Ayurvedic detox. And you have your nice ones with the triphala and the turmeric, and you have your ginger with it. All that's great. But here's what we want to do. We want to make this really simple. I want you to, for that first morning, just do your shake and water. That's it, all right? Now, you can do 1 glass of water upon waking. An hour later, you can do your shake, or an hour and a half, whatever it might be. Great. Were you nauseous? If the answer is no, good. We know it's not the shake. So then what we want to do that evening, take 2 of whatever of the pills you would like. So take the FM detox or take the AYU detox. Did you feel nauseous? Yes or no? And if the answer is no with the AYU, great. Now we can do the next morning. We're going to do the shake and the AYU pills, because we know those aren't an issue. And then that night we're going to do shake, AYU pills, and the FM detox pills. And the FM detox pills, did you feel nauseous, yes or no? And if the answer is yes, okay, well then it's the FM detox pills. Let's wait until the next day when you take them with food. You might just need to take your pills with food, and that's okay. Remember, like, the goal of the detox, most people, 9.9 out of 10, are going to be able to do it exactly how it states. But for anyone else, there's always a way that we're able to better detox the body and just tweak it a little bit for you. That's all. There's no problem at all. And again, maybe it's just during your first detox. Maybe there is a lot more that needs to be gotten rid of. Maybe. I don't know that. Maybe. And then the other part is this. Let's say that you're not feeling that well on the first 2 fasting days. Move right through the days 3 through 7 meal plan. Shake, vegan lunch, shake, paleo or vegan-based dinner, right? So you can move right through days 3 through 7 and take your pills with food if that works better for you, even though it's not the exact plan. That's okay. How much better is it to get 80% of the results by customizing a little bit for you, especially your first detox, than getting 0% of the results, right? Always go for 80%. Go for 50%. That's so much better. And remember, it's your first detox. Everyone in our community always says the first one's the most challenging. You don't know what to expect. Your body is going to be releasing a lot of stored toxins that it's held in that liver, in your blood, in your adipose tissue, which is your fat cells, for years. So let's be gentle on ourselves. Let's go easy. No big deal. We can ease into this. But what I want you to do is experience those benefits. This is something that's been around for thousands of years with purification, detoxification of the body, and we're able now through modern science to take this to the highest level possible. So, Ruth, thank you for writing in. Happy that it sounds like you're doing great in general. So keep up the great work. Hopefully we're going to be able to take your health, wellness, body transformation to that next level with the detox. All right, take care. That is going to be our last question for today. Hopefully this was helpful. As always, please do feel free to share this show, these answers, with anyone else you believe they could serve. And don't forget, we start our Motivation and Mindset Monday, the best way to prepare for the week. All right, take care, everyone. Have an amazing rest of the weekend. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.